Hello, hello, yogis. Welcome to our Wednesday Connect Restorative class. So we're going to do something a little bit different than we've been doing previously this month. We're going to do a wall yoga practice. I love using the wall as a prop to support the body in relaxation. So what I highly recommend is that you grab a blanket as your prop for today. We will use this in our final resting pose as well. So grab a blanket or anything that brings some additional comfort to the low back as you bring your legs up the wall. So it doesn't always look pretty when you bring the legs up the wall, but just do your best. I like to bring my bottom as close to the wall as I can get it, and then slide the legs up and then kind of shimmy, shimmy the body closer to the wall. Maybe the bottom is even touching. And if this is too much sensation, you can always back the upper body off and decrease the amount of angle that there is from through the hips, because that's really what's creating the sensation here is the 90-degree angle in the hips. So let's just take a moment here and kind of let ourselves settle in. I invite you to cactus out your arms and start with a really open chest. Close down your eyes. And if you don't have a wall, you can do this against your bed. You could do this against the back of your couch. You could do this against a patio window. Really, anything that has some stable behind it, some stability behind it is perfect. Whatever works in your space, wherever you are. And letting ourselves settle in and sink in, letting ourselves start to connect to our breath. Feel the inhale expand and feel the exhale release. Feel the inhale expand. Feel the exhale release. Letting yourself sink into your space and allowing yourself to really center the mind. Give yourself permission to release and relax here. From here, let's bend into the knees and plant the feet on the floor on the wall, flat on the wall. And let's slightly bring the heels in and the toes out, and then see if you can tuck that tailbone into the floor and really feel into the activation through the inner thigh. Come back to your breath. Inhales and exhales through the nose. See if you can create a little bit more sensation as you press the tailbone into the floor. Notice that compression that you feel through the hip flexors. Staying connected to your breath. Something that my restorative students have shared with me over the years is it feels like I'm doing nothing. And it's so interesting in our culture how we connect doing nothing with that being a bad thing. We put so much value on productivity and accomplishment and achievement that doing nothing, there's something wrong with that. And the fact is, there isn't. Doing nothing creates the space. And even when we're doing nothing or we feel like we're doing nothing, we are still doing so much. This practice is about intentional relaxation, intentional release, intentional breath, intentional stillness. And those are all things that we don't really put as much value on in our society, in our culture, as we could. Rest is key for the body to recover. Relaxation is key for the nervous system and the mind to thrive, to create the space for new ideas, for innovation, for ingenuity. So, and then, holding still and relaxing in the body creates the space for healing, for recovery, for proper function. So when we think we're doing nothing, we're doing so much for ourselves, for our being, our whole being, our well-being. Let's bring our knees together and then extend the legs straight up toward the ceiling, creating some release through that part of the body that we were creating compression. If we think about the joints, the ankles, the knees, the hips, the shoulders, and the spine, all of these joints, when we compress them, it's like we're kinking the hose. And when we release them, they are getting full, fresh, oxygenated blood to those parts of the body. So that's where this compression piece really benefits the joints and the tissues and the organs that are in that part of the body. So just then we were compressing, creating compression through the hip flexors on both sides. And so then as we release, we're releasing the energy, we're opening up the lines of energy in that part of the body. Let's come into our twist. So tee out your arms, get the shoulders nice and flat into the floor, bend into the knees, and then walk your feet over to the right-hand side, and let's gaze toward the left. So maybe you notice as you twist, your shoulder lifts slightly off the floor, off the mat. That's okay. That's okay. Over time, gravity will help draw that shoulder down. And maybe it doesn't feel as good to gaze over that right shoulder. Know that you can stay at center. That's perfectly okay too. Let's connect to the breath and take a few deep breaths here in this twist. And maybe you acknowledge where we're still creating compression in the body in our twist. So yes, we are creating compression through the whole torso, especially with the breath. We're also creating compression through the hips, the knees, and the ankles. So as we release, it's benefiting all of the tissues. Let's bring our focus and awareness back to our breath. And start to walk your feet back through center. Extend the right arm out. And maybe gaze over that right. Come back to your breath. Inhales and exhales through the nose. Maybe the body allows for a little bit more release. And let's bring the legs back through center. Send them straight up. Feel into that release. You might want to pedal out the legs. Let's take a few deep breaths here. Give yourself permission to relax. Give yourself permission to be still. And let's take our right ankle and bring it above the left knee or wherever along the leg feels right for you. Coming in to that figure four. Now you can hang out here with your leg straight, the bottom leg straight, or you can plant the foot on the floor and come into a little bit more of a stretch. Find which variation works for you today. I feel like for me, drawing the foot in rather than keeping the shin parallel to the ceiling, that's what feels right for me today. And let's switch it out. Extend the right leg up, draw the left leg in, find that variation that works for this side in your body. It might be different than the previous side. Noticing where your mind takes you as you're here in stillness. And just maybe you just allow the thoughts to rise and fall. Like it's not about controlling the mind and focusing the mind on something in particular. It's just about allowing the thoughts to come in and be, and then allowing them to go and move on to the next thought with ease rather than force, with gentleness rather than pushing. And just know that this time on our mats right now, right here, is a space to let the mind wander, to allow for the thoughts to come and go. There's so much of our day where our mind is required to be focused on something in particular. And so here, let's just create that space. And then we're going to bend into both legs and come into like a cross-legged position against the wall. So it's basically the same thing we were just doing. Just draw that top leg down. If that doesn't work, just see if there's anywhere that you can bring the leg to. And then let's switch out whatever leg is on top, put it on the bottom. As you can tell, we're not spending a whole bunch of time here. Let's inhale, sweep. Inhale, round the hands down, almost creating a full circle. Inhale, on. Exhale, round the hands down. One more. Inhale, up. And exhale, round. Let's unravel the legs, extend them both straight up. Maybe you draw the legs toward the upper part of the body. Feeling into that stretch and length through the back sides of the legs. And let's slowly, gently roll ourselves over to the right or the left, whichever side is better for you. And we're going to take our blanket, lay it across the base of the mat, and let's come into, lay it underneath our low back, and let's come into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Lying flat on the back, you can flip your palms, palm facing up, palm facing down, find what feels better for you, and come back to your breath. Take a few deep breaths here, inhales and exhales through the nose. Letting yourself really settle into this final resting pose. Allowing the thoughts to rise and fall, to come and go. With each exhale, allow the body to sink and settle into the mat. Stillness creates space. Allowing creates ease. Relaxation creates recovery. Awareness creates healing. Know that when you're on your mat, All of these pieces, all of these components are being created within your being. Bring the knees into the chest. Gently rock side to side. From the backs of your legs, rock yourself up into an easy seat, cross-legged. Ground down into your sitting bones. Get nice and tall through the crown of the head. Let's press the palms together and tuck the chin to the chest. Let's take 3 deep breaths here. Acknowledging any wisdom that came to the surface of your awareness throughout your practice today. Any mental, emotional, physical, spiritual awareness. This practice, our yoga practice, helps us to connect to these different layers of our being, our whole being, connects us to our wholeness. Thank you so much for being here today, for showing up for yourself, for sharing in this space. The light, the love, the wisdom in me sees, honors, reflects, and encourages the light, the love, the wisdom in you. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this practice. I hope that it served you. Know that you can always come back to this class, favorite this class, save this class, share this class. I can't wait to see you again on your mats. And until then, may your light be your guide.